everyone, and welcome back. Now, today we are going to be talking about Banlist prediction and a bit of a wish list as well. In a couple months since we've had the last Forbidden list changed, everyone's a bit antsy to see something different, especially as the meta right now is, at least from my perspective, not too interesting. This video I actually recorded live on Twitch, so I'll be doing that from time to time now, so make sure to go check out my Twitch if you want to catch these live, have some input, and you can see the chat on screen. You can kind of contribute yourself. Also, before I continue, please make sure to like, subscribe, leave a comment down below if there's anything you would change about my wish list or predictions.
Alright, yeah, so I guess we're starting off with everyone's favorite deck right now is Kashtira. This is the deck that I play because I think it's the best deck, but I also do not like this deck. I think it is very toxic and it's not fun, and this deck needs to go. So I've been an advocate in the past of banning Mind Hacker because this stops them from doing the zone locking stuff, which in theory makes it a lot easier to prepare for. And then it also means you're not getting like ripped out of the extra deck as often, and your deck's not getting banished face down, and it makes a huge difference on games. However, I only suggested that before because I didn't want Kashtira to die. Now that Kashtira has been out for several months, let it die. People hated on the Ishizu cards because they invalidated graveyard decks, but what the hell does this card do? This also does that. However, I don't think Arise Heart will get banned. I think they still want to keep it around. So I'm going to put this in my wish list change. I want Arise Heart to be banned. This may be excessive, but really, F this deck. Like, I'm not compromising anymore. It's been a couple months. We've had it. Now we can just go. None of this messing around stuff. Bye. Yeah, you can still zone lock, but it's way harder. And then you don't also have defensive options backing it up that are yeah, like you can really easily beat a zone lock if there's no Arise Heart next to it. But some people will go for the 5 lock without the Arise Heart, and that honestly doesn't even feel like it's hard to beat. It'll beat like Super Heavy Samurai if they don't have any Kaijus and their hand is, I mean, their deck's all monsters. You lock 5 monsters, but I won't beat like other decks. Yeah, screw Kashtira. As for what I think they'll hit, I think there are 2 routes, and one of the routes is the way OCG did it, which is to limit the Unicorn, the Rathzos, and Fenrir, and the other is to ban Mind Hacker, both of which should severely hit the deck without outright destroying it, because as we see in OCG, it's still playable at this, although it is severely weakened. I'm not sure which one they'd go, and if Chalamet's any indication, they may stray away from the OCG, but at the same time, if people are all expecting the Mind Hacker ban, maybe they just swap off to try and not be what we predict. I'm going to go bold and say they just copy OCG here. And they're going to keep it like this. I'm predicting this is what happens, where these 2 get limited and follow suit with OCG, because these are also utility cards that can be used in anything, and they don't want other decks to be relying too much on any of the same cards. Anyways, with these being limited, I think this will just stay at 3. Next up, we got the Runic and Shuri deck, which does seem to be the second best deck right now. There are other variants like the Sprite Twin version as well. However, the power behind these decks is rooted in the Runic cards. So yeah, I think as a wish list, I would like to see Naturia Beast banned because of the Floodgate. However, I don't think that'll ever happen. It's too integral to a big theme, and it doesn't see a crazy amount of competitive play. And there are outs to it, so it's not like crazy, but I don't like that it is very similar to like style of card as Colossus, albeit maybe not as easy to summon. It's still nuts, and if anything, it's more flexible because more decks can use it. So yeah, but as for the Runic cards themselves, though. I'm not really sure how they hit it, but I left off the other Runic cards. I don't think they're hitting the other stuff as much. I think honestly they just limit the Fountain and the Tip. Tip being one of their best starters, putting it to 1 means they're not going to consistently see it, but they can keep using it because obviously they can just put it back. And 1 Fountain, this may be a bit weird, but I think this will make it harder to chain block around Ash with the Fountain. And it also makes it way harder to cycle resources like aggressively on the first turn when you have a lot of Runic cards. It also means that you're way more vulnerable to being destroyed by resources, like resource punishes, like Cosmic Cyclone, stuff like Mind Hacker or Rise Heart would be a lot more damaging. Now, the thing is, I don't typically like going after consistency. Like, I wouldn't advocate for this maybe that much unless I went to the deck straight up dead. I don't like just hitting consistency, but hitting Fountain isn't really that much of a hit consistency if it's at 1 because you can't search it. It does actually limit the deck's overall capabilities, though. So, kind of attached to the runic cards is the sprite engine. I don't think that we'll see a hit on the twin cards. They've been very like underperforming for the past few years. I don't think that'll change. The runic cards are the real power there. They're like some decent effects, and they're okay rogue deck. It'll never really be a huge threat unless another card is released that pushes them forward. Those aren't the cards I'm afraid of. So as for sprite stuff, what do I think gets hit? Well, if you know my kind of philosophy, I think some of the best cards in the game and most troublesome are the ones that are just straight up toolboxes from the deck. So they give you access to anything you want relatively easily, and that is Sprint and Gigantic. These cards are dumb. Like, not just in sprite, just they're dumb. As you can see here, Ibli and Cyberstein are cards that are like really searchable, that are not fair, and only not fair because they're searchable. Like, if you had to commit to normal summoning them first or whatever, they wouldn't be as bad. But like with these two, it's just so accessible that it's a problem. And that's just not something I'm fond of existing. So I would have these banned. However, do I think they'll hit either of them? No. I don't think they do that. I think the same goes for the two cards they search. I really don't think anything will happen. I think this will stay limited and this will stay at 3. Despite the fact that they could lead somewhere nasty. If you guys want to see a cool combo, go check out Hypnocorn, my boy Vlad. He posted a cool FTK with the Mana Dome cards, or Mana DM now, and uses Sprint, Descend, Cyberstein, and then yeah, you know where it goes from there. You die. Yeah, so these cards I think should get the axe, despite me using them before in the decks that I rather enjoyed. I think they are good. What do I think Konami will do to hit Sprite? Honestly, I think they'll hit it a little bit lightly just to hit the consistency of the deck. I think they made it limit starter. As weirdly as that sounds, I think that'll just make it harder for them to push through fields. And it may also reduce their ability to grind, because now they can't like jet for a second starter, play on the next turn that easily. It makes the deck a lot more susceptible to disruption and makes it a lot harder to play it as its own deck. But I don't know. I mean, I don't think Sprite needs a major hit. I don't think Konami thinks it needs a major hit. That's just me. You could like interchange this maybe with any one of the pieces, but I think starter is the one they'd hit. They easily could be either of these as well. Or, I mean, the extreme hit would be hitting multiple. But again, I don't like overly hitting consistency on decks, and I don't think Konami needs to make a drastic action against us. So we got Expulsion here and Gimmick Puppet. These have been a decent amount of discussion around these cards, because without Expulsion, say it gets banned. Well, now you can just send like Jaugen or whatever, and then bring it back off the new fusion coming out in Syac. However, that is way more vulnerable to disruption now, because they can hit a monster rather than a trap, which historically is a lot easier to respond to. It also couldn't be belled all the time, where this can't always be belled. And then it requires more setup unless you're specifically going for a Jaugen. And if it's Jaugen can be tributed, it can be dropleted away. It's just far easier to deal with. So I think that while Branded can still have some dumb locks, the biggest way to keep it alive while like reducing the sheer stupidity of the Gimmick Puppet lock is to just ban Expulsion. Now, if you just ban Puppet instead, there's still the Jaugen thing that exists. That's not like that would have changed anyways. There's still DD Orthros. Yes, they can't grant Guignol to send it, but that doesn't come up like every single time. You'll still have Gimmick Puppet happen uninterrupted. That's stupid. And there are other cards too, like Ross Disciple and Ito are also cards that can just exist. I'd rather limit all those possibilities to them requiring more bricks to the deck and have your engine. I think Expulsion is the card I want to see banned, and then this obviously does not need to get hit. And I think Konami will actually do this. I don't think Konami is this blind as much as we give them crap. I think this is okay. I think they will ban this. What does that mean for Branded Fusion? Honestly, like, it could get limited because it's been a while, but they've been giving this deck a lot of support, and they love the lore, and the deck hasn't been doing them any problems. I think it'll stay at 3, and I think that's okay for now. As for how strong this deck is in the next meta, I still think it's tier 2. Its main problem has been consistency and incredible susceptibility to floodgates. Neither of those really change with the next release. At least I don't think so. So I wouldn't expect to see this deck pop up more, but that may be me being rather inexperienced with the deck in the next meta, because I really haven't looked into the new cards that much. Kind of related is Magnamut. Now, we've not seen Magnamut pop up in this last meta at all. Largely in part to Cash Tier, limiting the grave, meaning graveyard deck sucks, and thus Bestial suck. So we've seen them only really in dedicated dragon decks, and then occasionally in Despia because, you know, they have some in-theme synergy. But Magnemite is still a really strong card, and all the Bestials are really good. I don't know if they need to get hit to the same extent OCG has them at. I don't like, however, that it's just Magnemite specifically is such a crazy +1 that if it's good against you, it's just backbreaking. Should probably go. There is a world where maybe these are just way too strong as disruption and they limit light and dark decks too much. They shouldn't exist, but at the same time, light and dark decks have been getting so much support for so long. They seem to just have way more like tools to their disposal anyways. The fact that there exists a couple more options to beat them isn't a bad thing. So I'm okay with Bestials existing. But what I'm not okay with is the crazy pluses that this one gives. Now, Lubellion isn't as bad because Lubellion is only good going first or to break fields, which is more acceptable. Magnemite, no. So I'm going to put it at 1. This makes it a little bit sacky, but it still means you can search it in theme with Lubellion a lot more often. So I think it's okay. Okay, so Mathmech Circular. I don't think Mathmech is that good. I think it is a fine tier 2 deck, and it feels like the Invoked. It's relatively cheap for players. It's not that hard for players to understand. It has some easy kill shots. It has some decent setups, and it's relatively consistent. I think it's healthy for the game. It's not really that oppressive. I'm okay with this card staying at 3. I don't understand why some people hate it or love it. I don't love this card either. I think it's very whatever. In fact, I would never play this deck. I find it very uninteresting. However, I don't think it's a problem. I think it can be good, but unless every deck is absolutely slaughtered, this deck will not be like tier 0 or it may just struggle to be tier 1 at times. Yeah. What's nice about it is it can flexibly change its utility spots to suit the format, but sometimes that's not enough. And yeah, I don't think it's that crazy. And Bestials exist, so like right now they're bad into a Rise Heart, so you have to have ways to stop it, otherwise you get slaughtered by that. And if there's no Rise Heart, then maybe the Grave decks come back, and thus the Bestial comes back as well, which really check Circular, right? Like this deck is not unanswerable, so I think it's fine. Okay, so we got Maxine next. F you, you effing cockroach, you effing turd. I hope I don't get demonetized now. I didn't realize the emojis were there again. Yeah, this is the biggest reason why Master Duel isn't always enjoyable for me. A lot of my favorite cards are legal in Master Duel, and now tiers are there as well. But honestly, even with like 4 tiers, I was having a hard time playing just because Maxi ruined so many games. This card, oh god. Like, it checks some things, but at the same time, it also makes so many other things unenjoyable. There's a reason there's so much discourse about it in online communities, talking about ways to fix the card. It's clearly way too busted, and I don't think Konami will unban it. The TCG has been pretty rigid with their position on this card, and for good reason. This card is nuts. Stay banned. Next up, I mean, you guys know how I feel about this card. I love this card. It's goated. All the way to the top, your wishlist change. However, it just got banned a second time. There's no way Konami brings it back, as sad as it is for me to say, but I will be forever grateful if they bring it back. All right, as for Colossus, so the other deck I'm known for the most besides tiers would be Thunder, but I don't want Colossus to come back, nor do I think it will. I think the card is very oppressive, and I only enjoyed Thunder format so much because no one else played it for some reason. Yes, it was expensive, but even pro players who would have had the resources to play it didn't. So, I don't know. The Thunder Mirrors were terrible, and Colossus is the base reason for that. You can't play under Colossus. So, this card shouldn't exist. I'd like to think we're smarter now as a group of duelists. People would actually play Thunder if it was fully legal. And Colossus just led to a lot of dumb interactions. It doesn't help now that there's way more Thunders in the game. I think sprites are Thunders. So, like, imagine turning the sprites into Colossus. That's just a thing that it can do now. Yeah, no, don't want that happening. So, it's nowhere near as bad of an Offender's Maxi, but as much as I love her, I love it. Him, I don't know whatever Colossus is. Stay banned. Kikalos. I would wishlist this. Yes, this card would uproot the meta if it's unbanned, so I don't think it will be. But this was a healthy format from a skill perspective. While I know it can be frustrating to not like tiers and have to play against it. Maybe with all the other limits, it's like not as overbearing anymore. This would probably make it tier 1, but I don't think it'd be tier 0 anymore. So maybe this is fine, but yeah, I don't think it'll happen. I know. We'll see a lot of polarizing opinions on this, but that's fine. Hopefully, if you're competitive and you're watching this channel, you're with me on this. If not, you're welcome here. I don't blame you. I understand the discourse around this card, and I'm not going to vehemently like push for it the same way I would for Maxi, where that card is just disgusting. Grass. Stay banned. What? I can't believe this is a card OCG has, and I don't know why they use it more. It's just so jaw-dropping. When this card's activated on you in turn 1, you're like... And you just feel like garbage. It should be a 3 if it is unbanned. That way at least it's consistent and you can build around it. But the Saki grasses are just... You just want to get up and walk away. I don't know this deck should exist. Now we have even more graveyard effects. It's just... Yeah. Stay banned. Alright, checking game. So I guess this can go on a topic with Upstart Goblin here. There's a recent amount of discussion on Twitter as to if these cards can be unbanned. It's weird. I think they get a lot less problematic as Droll becomes more mainstay in formats, and we see Prosperity now existing because they have contradictions there. However, they can contribute to some dumb FTKs. They make some FTKs more consistent. I do think at some point these become a problem if there's too many of them, because you can cycle through your deck really fast, and then it becomes like, it just changes the entire deck building math behind Yu-Gi-Oh! And I haven't really given it too much thought. I don't think anything will change either way. But as for what I think should happen, I honestly am not sure. I don't think these are safe to bring back to the full extent as people say they are. At least that might be my first opinion. But if math proves otherwise, I am open to being changed. Okay, Heavy Storm. So we have Harpy's Feather Duster, we have Lightning Storm. Why is this card not legal? Destroying your own cards can have some synergies, but I mean, it's not much. You can clear floodgates of your own, which is like kind of cool, but it's so fringe. What do I think will happen? Nothing. I honestly should have added another section for cards that I don't particularly care for, but I think could come back. I think this could probably come back. Yeah, I think almost certainly. But as far as prediction goes, it's staying banned. Chaos Ruler. This card is fun, but it is way too strong. Like, this is single-handedly the reason I think tier is still playable in OCG. I think we wouldn't be able to play it because no Chaos Ruler, right? Like, they assault Synchron and Glow Up Ball and do dumb stuff all to get to Chaos Ruler, and they can then do other stuff afterwards. But yeah, no, what do we make instead? Die Balantis? Way worse. Stay banned. Drident. This card should stay banned. You need proof? I played tiers in the most recent MCS with Drident. It's an improvement to the deck. The card is very good. Generic rank 4 Drident is way too strong. Electromite. I hate pendulums. Hate FTK. Stay banned. Plush Fire. I hate pendulums, but honestly, this card's not that good. I think I could probably go to 3, but I think they can put it to, they'll probably put it to 1, like they usually do with most cards first. It's kind of a testing ground. I think Blaster, though, is in a similar position where it can also be limited. Again, it's not that crazy anymore. And honestly, you could put other Dragon Rules back too, but this one makes no sense with more fire cards coming out, and it's also the weakest of them. Part of the reason why you can't have like Tempest in the title, or you can't have Redox in title back, maybe, is their discard effects. This discard effect is the worst of all 4. So, yeah, there's that. I still wouldn't be able to play full power Dragon deck. Not that that would even matter that much. I don't know how good a full power Dragon deck would even be in the current meta. We'll see. Masterpiece, I think this could happen. I don't even think it's like Konami's that against it, because we have so many Towers-like cards that exist at this point in the game anyways. Like X-Pearly Noir is probably just better than this at this point. So I don't know what's stopping this from happening. Maybe them just realizing this isn't as much of a problem. Will it be decent? Yeah, it won't be straight unplayable, but it's not going to be a huge problem either. Honestly, it wasn't even that crazy when it was legal, and I may catch flack for that, but I played back then. I was still a meta player, got it decently, The card was not that insane. Like, you could out it. You just have to make sure to prepare for it. Because it was in the meta. Like anything else. So, yeah, it's fine. Gazelle, I think it'll go to 3, and it can go to 3. I think Salad is bad. I'm pretty vocal about that. I think it's bad. Sorry if you like this deck. I don't find it fun, and I also don't think it's very good. I think it is worse than Mathmech as far as a Cyberus deck goes. This is way more with one card, and also a leaner engine. And Salad just feels so frail. It's so many spots for me. I just didn't like it. Not a fan of this. I'm sure I'll catch flack for that, but this deck sucks. Orcus, probably my second least favorite deck from that format. I'd rather have Strikers and rather have Thunders. But I think it'll get limited. I think, again, it can come off. It's not that crazy. It may improve the Orcus deck a bit and make some, like, Dark Machine decks a thing, but it wouldn't be insane. They'd be rogue still. It'd be okay. So that's fine. Glowball was an interesting one that came off in Japan. I think this card is very good. I think it should probably stay banned for now, right? Like, it does a lot of really powerful stuff, and it may not be super accessible right now, but I think the card is very good. This may be a bit crazy, but this card's been banned twice. It was good. It's a very good card. I know there's no Helk, but I'm skeptical. You have to keep in mind we also have Diabolantis now, so this card off Diabolantis is pretty good. Or like you can Diabolantis, send it, and then summon it back, and then do stuff with there. What would you want to do there? You can make Hot Red, which is like cool, I guess. Ultimate Offering. This card sucks. I don't know why it's even banned still. It's probably the worst of all of them. This card, this and Sixth Sense. I'll probably move them to 1. I mean, this may be ambitious. I'm probably going to get like minus Banlist prediction points here for saying so many banned cards get unlimited. These cards just aren't good. Like, I don't know why they're here. Can't make Hot Red because it's an insect, right? Like, can't make Hot Red. Never mind. I was just speaking on the top of my head and I made a mistake. No Hot Red. But yeah, I'm not sure. Paul, I still think it's risky. But I accept that I could be wrong. Sixth Sense is stupid, but it's not even a good card. So, Imperial Order, you guys know this card is very fair. No. No, just no. Just no. Alright, Subs the Toad. I think this card will go to 3. No Ronin Toad. When they see it does absolutely nothing. Unless that changes anytime soon, this card can go to 3. IO jump scare. Yep. Flips. Spread the gospel. Imperial Iron Walls are Imperial Order is our savior. Stop all this Pirelli cards, right? Die. Fluffy cats die. Alright. Draco Face Off. Cards at 3 in Japan. Does nothing. They also have more Pendulum support than that. Draco Slayer deck's not been very good here. Supporting that's okay. I don't think Japan will have any. I don't think Konami will have any objections to that. So I think this card will go to 3. Instant Fusion. I don't think this card will get hit because they just have a goddamn they have something against banning this card. I understand Kit's gone, but like this card is nuts for like Predaplant Ambuloides, Millennium Master Strict, and anytime they release any fusion, you just have to think of Instant Fusion. This card is dumb and it's searchable now for some combos as well. Off like the Predaplant stuff, like multiple cards. Just please get rid of it. Like why? Call by the Grave. I think it'll stay limited. I don't actually feel as polarized about it as other people do, where they want it either to at banned or at 3. I never felt like this card was that game defining, so I didn't think it was that important to have it a 3 or a banned. But in a specific format where it's that bad, then I guess having it a 1 is a bit of a treachery. But I've never really played mid-range decks that felt like this card was a bane to my existence. So, and combo decks, I've never even felt this card was that good. Anyways, I'd rather have other like engine pieces most of the time. Public Judgment has been doing nothing, and I think it'll move to 3. It's not done anything so far. It's pretty searchable, so it's not like the consistency mattered that much. And it was just put to 1, so they'll probably supplement it. Terraforming. I don't know why this card exists. Like, at 1. Like, so now you have 4 every field spell just for the sake of having 4 instead of 3. I'm gonna wish this and say it's banned. I just don't get why we need to have searchable field spells like this. Like, for every single deck. It's just, I don't know. I don't know if it's like not. It's like maybe a weird take, but this card doesn't need to be a 3. I mean, so it doesn't need to be at one. I should just be banned. Like, we already have 3 each field spell. Also means hitting field spells is just worse. And we have other ways to search them that I think are like more balanced. Metaverse is at 3, and so is Planet Pathfinder, both of which, I mean, you can get field spell still, but now there's like an actual downside attached to it. So I'd rather just be forced to play those cards if you really need a field spell for your engine. And at 1, it's not like it's making a huge difference to any deck that's incredibly reliant on field spells. Engage. Oh, this is just all striker cards in general. I think it'll stay limited. I don't think Konami wants to bring back strikers, considering they're like the most winning deck of all time at this point. However, I don't think it's that bad. Maybe it's been biased because recently, ever since they like won their last YCS, we've had it it is a format full of graveyard hate, so strikers have been obsolete. So maybe it's been naive to say they can be released a bit. Being said, I don't care if they come back, so I'm not going to put on my wish list. And I also don't think Konami will make a difference. Change of Heart. So we're going to see this go to 2 in Master Duel in a bit, and we haven't seen how it'll actually play out yet, so we don't know if it makes a big difference. However, we've had Mind Control 3 in the past in TCG, and went back to 1. It's not like insane, but there are certain formats where it becomes incredibly powerful, and they want to limit the power spells. I think with that mentality in mind, they want to keep it on 1. Otherwise, it doesn't make sense, especially with Mind Control being on 1. I don't think Change of Heart would go to higher than that. I think Mind Control will probably be first. And at that point, I think maybe they can do both at the same time, but I think they want to keep these cards kind of low on the list. And with Thrust, you can access them pretty easily now too. That requires them to play something, and I think Konami is fine with that being a thing. Sekka's Light, I think, can probably go to 3. No Mystic Mind means those aren't like hard counters to it anymore, but I think it's a cool dynamic that your deck is monster based. You can't even use it in Super Heavy Samurai really because the scales get locked out. It turns you into a very much glass cannon deck, which I don't like, and starting with it is just not a thing you can do. So this card's not good in that deck. However, it is cool for other decks, and I don't think it's that bad to have. There are so many powerful spells that exist now that you'd be like foregoing that I don't think it matters that much if this card is at 3. I think it's not unreasonable that Konami will do this either. Dweller. Like, Konami also just loves this card, so should be effing banned. So one of my biggest philosophies for Banlist during like the game of Yu-Gi-Oh, I guess, is I already talked about one of them, was the deck toolbox thing. I hate that. I also hate lingering floodgates. I hate floodgates in general, but lingering floodgates are even worse because you cannot respond to them. Like you cannot deal with them. Even if you have like MST to kill a back row, if it's like D barrier, if it's different dimension ground, you just out of luck. You need to respond directly to it. It is so hard. So all those cards, and I'm not just talking about Dweller here, are a huge pain in the ass. Now Dweller is annoying because it's a rank 4, so it's incredibly accessible. I hate that this card exists. I would just want this card banned. But I also don't think that'll happen. Now, following in line with what I said, where I don't like those toolbox decks or cards, Beatrice is the same thing. It finally banned Curious. We got one step closer. Why is Beatrice still legal then? That card is being played more than Curious. Konami's usually late to some stuff like this, so maybe they'll realize now? I don't know. Pot of Desires and I guess Prosperity. I'll talk about these together. So these are obviously good consistency cards, but I don't know, like you could limit this so that not every deck can play 3, but it actually is a relatively high cost to ban 6 from your extra deck. It's limiting to some decks. The half damage does mean you can't really kill them that turn. I think this card is balanced, and I don't actually mind it being a 3. I don't think Konami really minds it either. Desires, I hate at 2. I hate it. Why? I think some limited cards should only be saved for rare occasions where it actually matters for the resource game, or for combos, like to break those up. So like putting Kagari to 2 means the striker's resources are a bit worse if you want to slightly hit striker resource management. That's like acceptable. Or Malicious to 2 because they can only play 2 now. Desires is so random, like why? I think they'll change it. It may go back to 1, to be honest. Now it's seeing play again. Or it may go back to 3. I'm going to wishlist put it at 3. I think they'll keep it at 2. Konami is ridiculous. Alright. This card should be banned. And I should put wishlist banned, but I think Konami will see our hate for it and do something silly in Konami fashion. This may be a bold prediction, but they'll put it to 1. So you can sometimes sack your opponents, just like Maxi. And when this happens to you, you can pull your hair out, you can rip it straight out your head. You can start balding like me when you get shifted, and you can leave the room. Because that's exactly the type of move Konami would do to make your flu matchups that much more unenjoyable. Because it finally stopped being that bad after Barasechi got banned. Now they want you to feel pain again, right? And give us a bit of a break. Time for you to feel pain. Droll, wishlist banned, another lingering floodgate. Don't like these cards. Lancey is the same. Sometimes you need this to check stuff, but I'd rather like cards like Nibiru exist that are punishes for overextension instead of just floodgates. My chat asked me to pick this card out because it beats Ruby Samurai. This card is not good in other decks. It only punishes decks that are all monster based, which I don't know if it's even that bad of a thing to have that type of punish. I don't know, man. Like, I don't think this card needs to get hit at all. Silva. This is definitely a wishlist ban, but it also could legitimately happen. Now, the reason is here's the Dark World is a strong deck, and honestly, it's fine. But it might honestly be like too toxic and ruin Dark World so much they limit it. They actually just ban it. Now, the thing is, a Dark World deck is already pretty fragile to disruption, so the deck may just not be good enough anyways without it because of all the Bystials, the Shifters, the Trolls. So this may just stay unhit, but I think it's toxic enough that Konami may do something about it. Now, what they could also do, which I don't agree with, but is not completely meritless, put it to 1. That way now a single Crow or Bystial turns off entirely the loop. But I don't love that idea either. I don't think it's unreasonable. This one is the one I'm the most up in the air about, I think, because I could just not get touched at all, like completely be unacknowledged, but I'm gonna do another strong opinion and say it's banned. Let's see. Cerulean can handle it by itself. Yes, it can, but it's way harder. It is not as good. Next up is Gamma. So Gamma is a card that is banned in, or sorry, it's not banned. It is limited now in the OCG, and it's semi-limited in Master Duel. It is a very strong going second card, and it's not a floodgate. So I think this card should stay at 3, and I really hope that doesn't change. I love this card a lot. I think it's extremely fair, and yes, it's strong, but that's fine. It feels bad when you like ash them and they gamma you on the first turn, but that creates some like thoughtful decision-making points. It's also a counter to cards like Droll and Shifter. I think this card is good for the game and should stay at 3. And it's not even that unhealthy. Like, not even that broken. Ride of Ramus here. This is the most interesting one, because if you told me this and the entire Adventure Engine would be at 3 a year ago, I'd say you're crazy. These cards are incredible. However, power creep and just the fact that so many bricks part of this deck, part of this package, means that it's like not been super relevant. They've not done nothing, but they've not been crazy either. I think they stayed 3, but this is always going to keep my eye on because they're so strong, and Japan has them hit for a reason. They're very good. So, interesting to see where these continue to go. They have so much potential. Eradicator. I love this card, but I should wishlist ban it. It's way too powerful. I think other viruses may honestly be the same, but this one is nuts for spells because it feels like it's one of the few ways to interact with them that's like a blowout. And I mean, like, you'd have to ban so many cards that like stop the monster hate, but for spell hate, this is like the only real big one. And Trap Trick and all the Labyrinth combos make this kind of dumb. I don't know, maybe at the same time, I like this card. I don't think it'll get hit, but it has merit to being banned. Alright, Skill Drain. I am not even going to wishlist ban this. This card is not as insane as people think it is. The only one that I think is actually crazy that should be banned is Anti-Spell, because I feel like it is so hard to counterplay. The Skill Drain has some counterplay. I don't think it's completely nuts. And it locks you off as well, unless you're not playing monsters. But most decks play monsters, so and your interrupts aren't going to be as strong if you don't have monsters up. I think this card is way more fair than Anti-Spell. And floodgates that don't linger aren't nearly as oppressive as lingering floodgates, because you can answer them after the fact. So while I don't love Skill Drain as a card, I don't think it's that bad, and I think if they're going to hit anything, please just anti-spell Fragrance. Alright, so wind up Curious and Mighty. I think it can go to 1. I think probably go to 3, but keep it at 1 for now. Yeah, maybe some fishy hand loop stuff with Hunter, but it'll be minuscule. Godems exists. Enter Blathner exists. There's other cards out of the hand that should get hit if they really want to stop hand ripping. This card's fine. Baron. This is an interesting one where I don't think this will get hit, but I think there is absolute merit to getting this banned. Like, the power of generic synchros spiked real, like, a good amount when this card came out, because it went from level 10s being terrible to just being insane. I think Chenying as the base level 10 or Qixing Longyan would be way better as base level 10s for people to make, or even some of the other new ones that are not as powerful or are more conditional but are still strong. But this just being a generic negate and a pop and being able to revive while being 3k and super easy to make is kind of dumb. So maybe a bit too powerful. It very much has warped a lot of metas, like in the shadows, where it doesn't seem it's that crazy, but like it makes a big difference. Overshadowing cards like Savage, which is also an incredible card that was a big change to generic synchro monsters. Okay, so update Jammer is the last one here. A lot of people talk about this card because Cyber decks like Salad and Mathematics kill you with access codes. Update Jammer. I don't want to punish going second decks. Make a better turn 1. Play cards that stop being blown out. I don't know what to tell you. I don't think this is that bad. If you're playing a lower tier deck and you're playing against a higher tier deck, you'll have a hard time anyways. So yes, if you're playing a tier 3 deck and you're playing against Mathmech, it's gonna be a bit of a struggle, and you may die to this. But you could just die to any tier 1 deck during their combo. So I don't see the reason to hate on this. I know people love to hate on it because it's an easy bread and butter combo, but I don't think it's that crazy. I think it is fine, and I really don't like hitting cards that are only good going second. This is one of them. Stay unlimited, I guess. Anyways, yes. So this is what I think at the moment. Let me know if there's any big changes you think that will happen that I didn't mention, or if you think I got anything extremely wrong. Also, your wishlist stuff. But yeah, this is kind of where I think my head's at as we approach hopefully a new ban list in time for YCS Chile and Philly. And I will see you guys next time. Peace.